where love often feels like a fairy tale reserved for the lucky, a homeless girl named Chloe unexpectedly captured the heart of a wealthy businessman named Dylan. Their story began not in the lavish halls of a mansion, but in the gritty streets of a bustling city where dreams often fade and hope flickers like a dying ember. Chloe was a warrior, a survivor navigating the shadows, while Dylan was a man ensnared by the expectations of wealth and privilege. This is their journey, a tale of resilience, love, and the surprising twists that fate can deliver when least expected. Chloe sat curled up on a park bench, her tattered backpack by her side, watching the world pass her by. The chill in the air reminded her that winter was coming, but it was the warmth of human connection she missed the most. Once a college student with dreams of becoming a writer, life had turned upside down for Chloe. A series of unfortunate events, a devastating car accident, unexpected medical bills, and the loss of her job, had landed her in a position she never thought she'd find herself in. Yet, Chloe was not one to wallow in despair. She volunteered at shelters, sharing her meals with others who were struggling. "We're all in this together," she often reminded those around her, her eyes reflecting a kindness that belied her circumstances. But beneath her brave exterior lay a deep sense of isolation and a lingering question. Would she ever find her place in a world that seemed to have forgotten her? One fateful afternoon, as Chloe sat in the park, she noticed a well-dressed man, Dylan, sitting across from her, tapping away on his phone. He looked every bit the part of the American dream, confident, successful, and seemingly untouchable. Dylan had built an empire in the tech industry, but behind his polished facade lay a man grappling with his own loneliness. Surrounded by people yet feeling utterly alone, he yearned for something more than his high-powered life. As fate would have it, their eyes met, and Dylan felt an inexplicable pull toward Chloe. It wasn't just her beauty that captivated him. It was the strength that radiated from her. He approached her, an unusual move for someone in his position. "Hey, I'm Dylan," he said, a friendly smile breaking across his face. "Can I buy you lunch?" Chloe hesitated, her instincts telling her to be wary. "Why would you want to help me?" she asked, skepticism lacing her voice. "Because I see you," he replied, his sincerity evident. "You're not just another face in the crowd. I'd like to hear your story." Reluctantly, Chloe agreed, and as they shared a meal, laughter echoed between them. Through their conversations, a connection began to blossom. Dylan shared tales of his success, but Chloe's perspective grounded him. She recounted her struggles and the spark of hope that still flickered within her. Days turned into weeks, and Dylan found himself returning to the park to see Chloe. Each visit deepened their bond, a friendship that felt both exciting and terrifying. With every story shared, Chloe began to inspire Dylan to rediscover joy in simple things. Watching the sunset, feeling the grass beneath their feet, and embracing life's small wonders that he had long overlooked. But outside this blossoming relationship, the world remained harsh. Dylan's friends began to question his choices, dismissing Chloe as just another charity case. "Why waste your time with her, Dylan? You could have anyone," they scoffed. Pressure mounted, pulling Dylan in conflicting directions. On one hand, he felt drawn to Chloe, captivated by her warmth and resilience. On the other, he wrestled with societal expectations, the prejudices ingrained in his world. Then, one evening, the universe tested their bond when Dylan invited Chloe to a lavish party hosted by his family. As they arrived at the grand estate, Chloe felt her heart race. Surrounded by opulence, she couldn't shake the feeling of being an imposter. She had never been in such a luxurious place, and the glances from the elite felt piercing. As the night unfolded, the tension escalated. Chloe tried to engage with Dylan's friends, but their condescending remarks cut deep. "What does a girl like you know about this life?" one of them sneered, eliciting laughter from the crowd. Dylan, witnessing the humiliation, felt a surge of anger. "Stop it," he shouted, his voice booming in the room. "Chloe is more than you'll ever understand. She's brave, beautiful, and she has a heart of gold." In that moment, Chloe's heart shattered. She felt like a burden to Dylan, a representation of everything he had worked to escape. As she fled into the night, tears streamed down her cheeks, and she realized that no matter how much she loved him, she didn't belong in his world. Dylan chased after her, desperation fueling his steps. "Chloe, wait," he called, catching her by the arm. "I'm sorry. They don't matter. You matter." She shook her head, the weight of the world pressing down on her. "I can't do this, Dylan. I can't be the reason you lose everything." He pulled her into an embrace, wishing he could shield her from the cruelty of reality. But as he held her, he felt a shift within himself, a determination to fight not just for their love, but for her dignity and future. Back in her makeshift home that night, Chloe reflected on everything. "Why do I feel so alone?" she wondered. "Why can't I just be happy?" She clutched her tattered journal, a collection of dreams and aspirations she once had. In the face of adversity, she began to write again, pouring her heart onto the pages. She wrote about love, resilience, and the importance of fighting for what's right. Each word became a reminder that she was more than her circumstances. She was a warrior in a battle for her future. Dylan, meanwhile, lay awake, tormented by the evening's events. He realized he couldn't let societal pressures dictate his happiness. He thought of Chloe, her laughter, her kindness, and the way she saw the world. He knew he needed to make a choice, to stand with her against the odds or let her go. Days passed, and their connection was tested. Chloe worked to regain her confidence, volunteering even more at the shelter, helping others who shared her struggles. Each smile she brought to those around her became a beacon of hope, not just for them, but for herself. Then, an unexpected twist unfolded. Chloe learned about a local community initiative seeking to help the homeless find jobs and homes. With renewed determination, she signed up, hoping to turn her life around. Just as she began to regain her footing, Dylan made a bold decision. He confronted his family and friends, sharing his truth. "Chloe is not just some girl. She's everything I've been searching for," he declared, his voice unwavering. But his declaration came with a price. He faced rejection from those who once celebrated his successes, and he realized that to fight for Chloe meant fighting against the prejudices that lingered in his own life. As the sun rose on a new day, Chloe prepared for her interview with the community initiative. She dressed in her best clothes, a borrowed outfit from the shelter, and stood before the mirror, the reflection of a determined woman staring back. "Today is the day," she whispered to herself. "I will reclaim my life." Meanwhile, Dylan watched her from a distance, admiration flooding his heart. He knew this was a turning point for both of them, but he couldn't shake the fear of what lay ahead. Would society allow them to love freely, or would they be bound by its cruel judgments? As Chloe walked into the building, ready to face her future, she took a deep breath. The journey ahead was uncertain, but she felt the strength coursing through her veins. This was just the beginning of a story filled with heartwarming twists, unexpected turns, and a love that knew no boundaries. As Chloe stepped into the building, a rush of nervous energy coursed through her veins. The smell of fresh paint and the buzz of conversation surrounded her, but all she could hear was the sound of her heartbeat. She scanned the room, taking in the faces of those gathered for the community initiative, each one holding their own stories of struggle and hope. Chloe took a deep breath and approached the registration desk. "Hi, I'm here for the job placement program," she said, her voice steady despite the fluttering in her stomach. The woman at the desk smiled warmly, handing her a clipboard. "Wonderful. Just fill this out, and we'll get started." "You're not alone in this," the woman reassured her, noticing the flicker of uncertainty in Chloe's eyes. As Chloe completed the paperwork, she felt a sense of empowerment wash over her. Each word she wrote represented a step toward reclaiming her life. This was more than just a job. It was a chance to rewrite her story. While she filled out her application, Dylan paced outside, his heart heavy with anticipation. He had spent the last few days reflecting on his feelings for Chloe, realizing that he couldn't let the opinions of others dictate his happiness. He wanted to support her in every way possible, to stand by her as she pursued her dreams. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Chloe emerged from the building, her face alight with determination. "I did it. I applied for the program," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. Dylan beamed with pride. "That's amazing. I knew you could do it. How did it feel?" "It felt liberating," Chloe admitted. "I'm tired of hiding. I want to show the world who I really am." Their celebration was short-lived, however, as they soon faced a harsh reality. The following week, during her interview, Chloe felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. She dressed carefully, wanting to make a good impression, but doubt lingered in the back of her mind. Would they see her past, or the potential she carried within her? As she entered the interview room, she met the panel of interviewers, 2 women and a man, all dressed in professional attire. Chloe greeted them with a bright smile, ready to share her story. "Thank you for coming in today, Chloe," the lead interviewer said. "We'd like to know a bit about your background and why you're interested in this program." Taking a deep breath, Chloe began to speak, her voice steady. "I've faced a lot of challenges in my life, but I believe they've made me stronger. I want to turn my experiences into something positive, to help others who are struggling just like I have." The panel exchanged glances, and for a moment, Chloe felt a flicker of hope. She continued, detailing her volunteer work at the shelter and her dreams of becoming a writer. But just as she felt herself gaining momentum, the man on the panel interrupted. "Your background is interesting, but how do we know you'll be committed? You've been homeless for a while now. What makes you think you can handle a job?" Chloe's heart sank, and for a brief moment, doubt crept in. She had prepared for tough questions, but this one hit too close to home. With tears brimming in her eyes, she took a deep breath. "Because I want to change my life. I want to prove to myself and to you that I'm worth this chance." Silence filled the room, and the lead interviewer leaned forward, a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. "We appreciate your honesty, Chloe. That takes courage. We'll be in touch." As Chloe left the interview, she felt a mix of hope and fear. Would they see the real her, or just her past? She was determined to fight for her future, no matter the outcome. Meanwhile, Dylan was waiting anxiously outside. "How did it go?" he asked, concern etched across his face. Chloe forced a smile, trying to mask her uncertainty. "I think it went well, but I'll just have to wait and see." Dylan pulled her into a comforting embrace. "No matter what happens, I'm proud of you. You're stronger than you know." In the days that followed, Chloe threw herself into volunteering at the shelter, finding solace in helping others. She shared her story with those who crossed her path, hoping to inspire them, just as she was inspired by their resilience. Each smile she received in return filled her with hope, fueling her determination to keep pushing forward. However, as Dylan continued to navigate his own challenges, he faced growing disapproval from his social circle. Friends who once celebrated his success now questioned his judgment. "Are you seriously dating a homeless girl? What will people think?" they taunted, dismissing his feelings as a phase. Their words stung, but Dylan refused to back down. He was learning to embrace the love he felt for Chloe, despite societal expectations. He started distancing himself from toxic friendships, understanding that true connections could not be measured by wealth or status. Then, one afternoon, Chloe received a call that would change everything. She had been accepted into the community job program. The news sent waves of joy through her, and she immediately called Dylan, her voice brimming with excitement. "Dylan, I did it. I got in." "That's incredible, Chloe," he exclaimed, sharing in her joy. "I knew you could do it. This is just the beginning." As they celebrated together, Chloe felt a renewed sense of purpose. With each small victory, she was reclaiming her identity, and Dylan was right there by her side, cheering her on. However, life had a way of throwing curveballs. One evening, Chloe returned to the shelter to find it in chaos. A new policy had been implemented, restricting access to resources, and many of her friends were panicking. The news hit Chloe hard, reminding her of the fragility of their situation. Determined to help, Chloe organized a meeting with the shelter residents, urging them to voice their concerns. "We can't let them silence us. We need to come together and make our voices heard," she implored. With Dylan's support, they gathered a group of residents, creating a petition to present to the city council. It was a daunting task, but Chloe's passion ignited a fire within them. "We deserve better," she declared, inspiring those around her to take action. As the days turned into weeks, the community rallied behind Chloe's cause, bringing attention to the issues faced by the homeless. They held rallies, shared their stories, and demanded change. Dylan stood proudly beside her, sharing his resources and connections to amplify their message. However, the battle was far from over. They faced opposition from powerful voices in the city who wanted to maintain the status quo. Chloe felt the weight of the world on her shoulders, but she refused to back down. "We have to keep fighting, Dylan. This isn't just about us. It's about everyone who feels voiceless." In the midst of their activism, Chloe and Dylan's love blossomed. They shared quiet moments together, laughing over coffee, taking long walks in the park, and supporting each other through the ups and downs. For Dylan, Chloe was a beacon of hope, teaching him that true strength lies in vulnerability. But just when things seemed to be looking up, an unexpected twist occurred. During a televised debate regarding the petition, Chloe's past was brought into the spotlight. A reporter dug deep, revealing her struggles with homelessness and insinuating that she was unqualified to speak on behalf of the community. The attack shook Chloe to her core. As she watched the segment unfold, her heart raced with fear and shame. "What will people think of me now?" she whispered to Dylan, tears streaming down her face. Dylan, unwavering in his support, took her hand. "They're trying to tear you down because they see your strength. You are not defined by your past, Chloe. You've come too far to let them silence you now." With his encouragement, Chloe found her voice again. She took to social media, sharing her story authentically and urging others to rise above judgment. The response was overwhelming. People began to rally behind her, sharing their own struggles and triumphs. Together, they formed a community united in their fight for change. As the momentum grew, Chloe and Dylan faced the ultimate test of their relationship. Could they withstand the pressures of the world outside, the scrutiny of others, and the fear that came with being vulnerable? On a chilly evening, as they sat on a park bench, Dylan turned to Chloe, his eyes filled with sincerity. "I don't care what anyone says. I love you for who you are, not what you've been through. You inspire me every day." Chloe felt warmth spread through her chest, and for the first time in a long time, she truly believed in the love they shared. "And you inspire me, Dylan. Together, we can change the world." But just as hope surged within them, the opposition became more aggressive. The city council refused to meet with them, and rumors spread like wildfire, threatening to undermine everything they had worked for. Chloe stood before a gathering of supporters, determination etched on her face. "This fight is not just for us. It's for every person who has ever felt marginalized. We will not be silenced." As the crowd erupted in applause, Chloe felt a renewed sense of purpose. But deep down, she knew the road ahead would be. As the days rolled into weeks, the campaign to bring attention to the struggles faced by the homeless community intensified. Chloe poured her heart and soul into the cause, organizing rallies, sharing her story on social media, and gathering signatures for the petition. The support was overwhelming, but the opposition was fierce. At a crucial city council meeting, Chloe stood at the podium, her voice unwavering. "We are not just statistics or stories to be swept under the rug. We are human beings with dreams, hopes, and the right to a better life. We demand to be heard." The room was filled with the whispers of those who opposed her, but Chloe's resolve remained strong. Dylan watched from the audience, pride swelling in his chest as Chloe fought for her community. He knew that this was more than just about her. It was about everyone who felt unheard and invisible. However, just as momentum was building, tragedy struck. Late one night, as Chloe and Dylan returned from a meeting, they found the shelter vandalized. Windows were broken, and hateful messages were spray-painted on the walls. Chloe gasped, her heart sinking at the sight of their sanctuary defiled. "What kind of monsters would do this?" she cried, tears filling her eyes. Dylan clenched his fists, anger boiling within him. "We won't let them win, Chloe. This is just a desperate attempt to silence you." But as Chloe surveyed the damage, despair threatened to overwhelm her. What if they're right? What if we can't make a difference? Dylan stepped closer, wrapping his arms around her. "We've already made a difference, Chloe. Look at how many people are standing with you. We won't back down now." Fueled by Dylan's unwavering support, Chloe channeled her pain into action. They organized a community cleanup to restore the shelter, inviting everyone who had rallied behind their cause to come together. That day, people from all walks of life showed up, painting over the hateful messages with bright colors and messages of love and unity. In the midst of the chaos, Chloe felt a spark of hope igniting within her. It was a testament to the power of community, and she realized that together they could overcome anything. The event not only restored the shelter, but also strengthened their bonds, reminding everyone that love could triumph over hate. But as they celebrated their small victory, Chloe received an unexpected call that would turn their world upside down. It was from a local news station wanting to feature her story. The reporter asked, "Chloe, how do you feel about sharing your journey on national television? This could bring significant attention to your cause." Chloe's heart raced with excitement, but fear crept in. Would she be able to handle the scrutiny that came with being in the public eye? Taking a deep breath, she agreed. "I want to share my story and show others that they're not alone." The next few days were a whirlwind as preparations began for the interview. Dylan stood by her side, helping her gather her thoughts and practice her delivery. "Just be yourself, Chloe. Your story is powerful, and it needs to be told," he encouraged. On the day of the interview, Chloe felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. As she sat in front of the camera, the bright lights felt overwhelming. The host smiled warmly, setting the tone for the conversation. "Welcome, Chloe. Your journey is incredibly inspiring. Can you share what it's been like transitioning from homelessness to becoming an advocate for change?" Chloe took a deep breath, her heart racing. "It's been a challenging journey, but I've learned that my past doesn't define me. I want to show others that there is hope, no matter how dark things may seem." As she spoke, she felt a sense of empowerment wash over her. The words flowed effortlessly as she recounted her experiences and the struggles faced by her community. She shared stories of resilience, love, and the importance of coming together. But just as the interview reached a high point, the host posed a challenging question. "Chloe, some people argue that those experiencing homelessness are responsible for their situation. How do you respond to that?" The question hung in the air, and Chloe felt a wave of anxiety. But she refused to let fear silence her. "I would say that everyone's story is unique. It's essential to understand the systemic issues that contribute to homelessness and to recognize that we all deserve compassion and support." The interview concluded with an invitation for viewers to join the cause. As the cameras turned off, Chloe felt a sense of relief wash over her. She had spoken her truth, and now it was up to the world to listen. When the segment aired, the response was overwhelming. Messages of support flooded in from across the country, and donations began pouring into the shelter. Chloe was flooded with gratitude, but she also felt the weight of her new role. While the positive attention was uplifting, it also attracted unwanted scrutiny. Chloe found herself facing harsh criticism from a small but vocal group who opposed her message. They claimed she was using her past for attention, dismissing her efforts as a ploy for sympathy. Dylan remained a steadfast support, urging Chloe not to let the negativity deter her. You know who you are, and that's what matters. Don't let their words define your worth. Despite Dylan's encouragement, the harsh comments stung, and Chloe struggled with self-doubt. One evening, she sat on the couch, her eyes filled with tears. What if they're right, Dylan? What if I'm just a charity case? Dylan knelt beside her, holding her gaze with sincerity. You are so much more than that. You've inspired countless people with your courage. Remember, there will always be critics, but your voice is powerful, and you can't let them silence you. Determined to rise above the negativity, Chloe threw herself back into her advocacy work. With renewed vigor, she organized a fundraising event to benefit the shelter, inviting local businesses and community members to participate. It was a chance to show that together they could create lasting change. The night of the event arrived, and the community turned out in droves. Laughter and music filled the air as people came together to celebrate and support the cause. Chloe felt a sense of belonging, a realization that she was no longer alone in her fight. As the evening unfolded, Chloe took to the stage, her heart racing with anticipation. Thank you all for being here tonight. Your support means the world to me and to everyone in our community. Together, we can create change. The crowd erupted in applause, and Chloe felt the warmth of their love enveloping her. In that moment, she knew she was not just advocating for herself. She was advocating for everyone who had ever felt marginalized. But just when things seemed to be looking up, disaster struck. The following morning, Chloe received a call from the shelter director. Chloe, I'm afraid we've been notified that the funding for our program has been cut. We may have to reduce services or even close our doors. Chloe's heart dropped. No, this can't be happening. We've worked so hard. She quickly called Dylan, her voice trembling. Dylan, they're cutting funding for the shelter. We can't let this happen. Dylan's determination ignited a fire within Chloe. We'll fight this together. Let's organize a rally and bring everyone together. We need to make our voices heard. With Dylan by her side, Chloe rallied the community once again, organizing a protest outside the city council building. The energy in the air was electric as people gathered to support the cause. They held signs, chanted slogans, and shared their stories, uniting in their determination to save the shelter. But the council remained unmoved. We appreciate your passion, but budget cuts are necessary, one council member stated dismissively. You need to understand the bigger picture. Chloe stepped forward, her voice steady and clear. The bigger picture is that lives are at stake. Cutting funding for our community means cutting off support for those who need it most. We will not stand by and let this happen. As Chloe spoke, a reporter approached her, microphone in hand. Chloe, can you tell us what this shelter means to you and the people who rely on it? Chloe took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. This shelter is not just a roof over our heads. It's a lifeline. It's a place where we find hope, community, and the chance to rebuild our lives. Without it, so many will be lost. The footage aired on national news, and soon Chloe's words resonated with viewers across the country. Support poured in from unexpected places, and donations flooded the shelter's account. But as Chloe basked in the glow of newfound support, she received a message that would change everything. It was from a well-known philanthropist who wanted to meet with her. When they finally sat down, the philanthropist shared their vision. "Chloe, I've been following your journey, and I believe we can do something incredible together. I want to fund a new initiative focused on homelessness and mental health support." Chloe's heart raced with excitement. "Are you serious? This could change everything for so many people." "Yes," the philanthropist replied, "but it's important to me that you're involved in shaping this project. You know what the community needs better than anyone." With that, Chloe's dreams began to take flight. She collaborated with the philanthropist to create a program that addressed not only immediate needs. Chloe felt a sense of purpose surge through her as she worked alongside the philanthropist to shape the new initiative. The project would not only provide shelter, but also focus on mental health resources, job training, and long-term support for those in need. This was what she had always envisioned, a comprehensive approach to addressing homelessness. As the program took shape, Chloe and Dylan became inseparable partners in their mission. Their relationship blossomed alongside their advocacy work, with each shared moment deepening their bond. Late-night brainstorming sessions turned into laughter and shared dreams of a future together, both personally and for the community they loved. But as excitement mounted, they faced challenges. Some community members were skeptical of the new initiative, fearing it would change the dynamics of their neighborhood. Chloe understood their concerns and decided to hold a town hall meeting to address the issues directly. On the night of the meeting, Chloe stood at the front of the room, her heart pounding. The crowd was mixed, with both supporters and skeptics present. "Thank you all for coming tonight. I know there are concerns about the new program, and I want to hear your thoughts. This community is our home, and we need to work together to make it better for everyone." A man stood up, his arms crossed defiantly. "What makes you think this program will actually help? We've heard promises before." Chloe nodded, recognizing the frustration in his voice. "I understand where you're coming from, but I want to assure you that this program isn't about just handing out help. It's about empowering individuals to regain control of their lives. We want to create a sustainable model that involves everyone in this room." The conversation continued, filled with passionate voices and differing opinions. Yet, as Chloe listened and addressed concerns, she noticed the atmosphere beginning to shift. People started to see her sincerity and dedication. By the end of the meeting, she felt a sense of unity starting to form among the attendees. After the meeting, Dylan pulled Chloe aside, pride shining in his eyes. "You handled that beautifully. You didn't just speak. You listened. That's what true leadership is about." Chloe smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without your support. We're in this together." As the program launched, the community began to transform. With the new resources available, people found hope and direction. Chloe watched as individuals who had once felt lost began to reclaim their lives. They were getting jobs, finding housing, and reuniting with family members. It was a beautiful, heartwarming sight. Amidst the triumphs, Chloe and Dylan also faced personal challenges. They were frequently in the spotlight, with the media keen on their journey. While this brought awareness to the cause, it also strained their relationship. They struggled to find time for each other amid the whirlwind of events and responsibilities. One evening, after a particularly long day, Chloe sat on the balcony of her apartment, staring at the city lights. Dylan joined her, sensing her unease. "What's on your mind?" Chloe sighed, looking down at her hands. "I feel like we're so focused on the mission that we're losing sight of us. I love what we're doing, but I miss just being with you." Dylan took her hand, his touch warm and grounding. "I miss us too. Let's make a pact. No matter how busy we get, we'll always carve out time for each other. This work is important, but so is our relationship." Chloe smiled, feeling a wave of relief wash over her. Deal. With that commitment, they dedicated one evening each week to simply be together. No work, no distractions. They would cook dinner, watch movies, or take long walks, allowing themselves to reconnect and recharge. As the months passed, the program continued to thrive, garnering attention from local and national media. Chloe was invited to speak at various events, sharing her story and advocating for systemic change. Dylan stood proudly by her side, always ready to support her mission. One evening, during a particularly significant event, Chloe found herself standing on stage, addressing a crowd that had gathered to celebrate the program's success. "Tonight, we celebrate not just the program, but the resilience of our community. Together, we've built something beautiful, a place where everyone has a chance to thrive." The audience erupted in applause, and Chloe felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. But as she concluded her speech, she noticed Dylan standing at the back, a nervous smile on his face. Something about the look in his eyes sent a thrill of anticipation through her. After the event, as the crowd dispersed, Dylan pulled Chloe aside, his expression serious. "Chloe, there's something I want to ask you." Her heart raced. "What is it?" Dylan took a deep breath, reaching into his pocket. He pulled out a small velvet box and dropped to one knee, the bustling crowd fading into the background. "Chloe, you've inspired me every single day. You've shown me the power of love, hope, and resilience. Will you marry me?" Chloe gasped, her eyes widening in disbelief. "Oh my God, Dylan. Yes or no?" He smiled, his eyes sparkling with hope. Tears of joy streamed down her cheeks as she nodded emphatically. Yes, I will." The crowd, still lingering nearby, erupted into cheers as Dylan slipped the ring onto her finger. In that moment, everything felt right. Chloe realized that their journey had come full circle. Not only had they fought for change in their community, but they were also building a life together filled with love and purpose. As they embraced, Chloe felt a sense of peace wash over her. She knew they still had a long road ahead. Challenges would continue to arise, but they would face them hand in hand. Together, they would create a future that celebrated love, compassion, and a commitment to making the world a better place. The weeks flew by as they planned their wedding, with the community rallying around them in support. It became a joyful celebration of not just their love, but the impact they had made together. On the day of their wedding, surrounded by friends, family, and supporters from their journey, Chloe looked at Dylan, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "I can't believe how far we've come," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. Dylan smiled back at her, his expression filled with love. "This is just the beginning, Chloe. Together, we can change the world." As they exchanged vows, promising to stand by each other through thick and thin, Chloe knew that their love story was intertwined with their mission to help others. They would forever be advocates for change, inspiring those around them to believe in the power of hope and love. The ceremony concluded with laughter, dancing, and a sense of unity that echoed the very essence of their journey. They had not only won each other's hearts, but had also ignited a movement that would continue to grow. As the sun set over the city, casting a warm glow over their celebration, Chloe and Dylan shared their first dance as a married couple. In that moment, they felt invincible, two hearts beating as one, ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would continue to fight for those who felt voiceless, bringing hope to the hopeless and shining a light on the beauty of resilience. Their love story would serve as a reminder that no matter how dark the night, dawn would always break, bringing new beginnings, endless possibilities, and a future filled with love.